Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing? It's me, Mr. 4K Upscaler. I did read the comments on my previous video, and this is regarding the Far Cry New Dawn. And on the OLED, I did notice a little bit, considering the black levels, that maybe it's not the best idea to keep the black levels at high. I've noticed that now when I'm playing the game during the day, because the OLED has as you all know, the best possible black digital levels. I mean, you really don't even have to touch those levels. Honestly, I'm at the point right now where I honestly believe that you don't even have to touch the black digital levels on the OLED because they're so good that there's really no reason for you to even mess around with them. So anyway, I got a feedback from some of you guys, and I think from one guy, CD Project. He mentioned that maybe I should go ahead and turn off that black digital levels to low instead of high. I also turned off all my filters. I felt that all these filters they're implemented, I should turn them off. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about right now here. Let me show you exactly. Has nothing to do with my picture settings. My picture settings are still the same. My HDR slider is still the same. This is just advanced settings, which I'm going to show you to in a minute. First thing first, I turn off the true motion. I really want to enjoy the game in the best possible latency, so I turn off the true motion. I don't think you really need this. Let's see. Black levels, I left them at low. You see, here's what happens when you keep them at high. I want you guys to keep an eye right here on this side. Actually, right over here. And you will see once I turn it to high, you will see just that this whole area will brighten up. And you're not going to get that nice defined shadow representation. So look what happens. I don't know if you guys noticed it or not. Maybe it might be difficult for you guys to see it, but you can see it right here. You see, like right here. See where my finger is? Like right there. Keep an eye right there on that tree. You see, now you get a much better definition of black digital levels. So yeah, thank you, CD Projekt, man. I appreciate that. Because remember, guys, I'm not a professional. I also like to look at your advice, because me too, actually, it's looking for the best possible picture quality. So with community, I can have some feedback from you guys, because a lot of you have OLEDs, a lot of you have QLEDs. I like to hear your feedback as well. See what kind of recommendations do you guys recommend? I mean, I'm not like some guru god 4K or something. I never said that I was. Even on my bio page, I say I'm the guy who connected my PlayStation 4 Pro and upscaled it to Xbox One S. I mean, my PlayStation 4 through the Xbox One S, okay, which I did. But I do experiment and I do use my eyes. I don't use this calibration method that others are using. And I get it. I understand that there's certain standards that these calibrators are using, and I honor those standards. I'm not against those standards. I understand what they're trying to do. They're looking for the key balance, picture quality. They're looking to bring everything balanced. I understand how it works. I just want you guys to understand that I'm not a dummy. I know how calibration works. It's just that I think there's no such a thing as a universal calibration, because every and each content is different. And this is why I believe you need to have many different presets. And this is why we do this. This is why I do these videos. And it's also good to have feedback from somebody else out there who has OLED, who has QLED, who has all these other different televisions, to kind of give me some feedback on what they're using. Now, if I don't like your settings, I will just tell you I don't like it. But if I do, I will tell you I do. And in this case, yeah, this makes sense. It makes sense to bring the black levels to low. This I left it on automatic. This honestly will not take any effect on the 4K and HDR. This is only something I leave on automatic because I don't want to switch back and forth. When I'm watching a scrambled digital cable, I don't want to go back and forth with this. I usually leave this on automatic. This, I turn off the true motion, even though I know LG has a really good motion flow, but I just felt that I don't need it because I'm playing a video game. I want to have a really smooth experience, especially on the OLED. Now, the only thing I would disagree with this recommendation for me to turn off dynamic contrast is the fact that I'm using an HDR, and I really like to have, because this TV, it's not the brightest TV, you know, it's OLED, so it doesn't get that bright. I felt for the HDR, I need a little bit more of that pop. Like you see over here, keep an eye, here, let me show you. Keep an eye on that tree where the sun is beaming, like right over here. Keep an eye right there, and you will see what I mean. You see, it dims down, and when I move it to the high, it gets brighter. But I also understand what CD Projekt is talking about. He's talking about a more redefined, balanced picture quality, you know. And I understand where he's coming from. It's just that for my taste, I like to have a little bit brighter. This is something that you guys can determine on your own based on your eyes and what you're seeing. But for me personally, I would go too high because I like to have that peak brightness on the OLED. Because the OLED, as you all know, it's not the brightest TV, so I like to keep it at high. I leave dynamic tone mapping because this is the optimizer for the contrast setting, so I keep that at high. Dynamic color, this is something that, you know, some people have been telling me to turn that off. Some people have been telling me to leave it in medium. I honestly, to me, I just like it at high because I just like to have that nice pop of color here. You know, and I don't agree that it's going to oversaturate the color. Dynamic color is not going to oversaturate the color. The only thing that's going to oversaturate the color is you moving that color slider to 70 or 73. But this is just my personal preference that I prefer it to have it on high. But I do agree. This is what I agree with. This needs to be turned off. This really doesn't take any effect. So turn the super resolution off. I agree with the black levels. So, CD Projekt, if you're watching, thanks for the feedback. I definitely agree with the black level to keep it at low. I agree with that. And also, I turned off the true motion off because I don't need it. So, there you go. Just a couple of tweaks here and there. Everything else is the same. The HDR slider is the 260, and if you watch my previous video, everything else is the same. It's just that I look into it, I listened to the feedback, and I went back to it, and I find out that yeah, you definitely want to keep the black level at low, which I have already shown you that if you look right here on this side where my finger is, you'll see why. It gets too bright. So you want to keep it low, you see? When you go too high, it gets too bright. Hey, that's not what you want. Okay, then it defeats the purpose of having an OLED, so you want to keep it at low right here. So thanks for the feedback. Excuse me, guys. Today I'm just coughing. Thanks for the feedback. I appreciate that. And what can I say, man? The Far Cry, Ubisoft, Far Cry New Dawn. Ubisoft just really gets it, guys. When it comes to the HDR, they just get it. They just know how to implement a proper HDR. And that's the one thing that I really like about Ubisoft. They just get it. They just know how to properly implement that HDR. I mean, just look how beautiful this looks. Just looks amazing. This is what happens when you have a proper HDR implementation. This is the kind of picture quality that you get. So there you have it, just a short little video. I got some more videos coming later on. I also have Q8FN. I need to test Q8FN with HDR slider valued paper white valued 260. I want to see how 260 paper white HDR slider value is on the Q8FN with Far Cry New Dawn. And after that, I'm going to test some other games as well. I have Just Cause 4. I have Rally 2.0, which is in native 4K. It just looks amazing on the Xbox. We have to test that as well. So stay tuned. But anyway, thanks for the feedback, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you.